Okay. Are we good? It says I'm good on here. Um, am I good over here? Aha, yes. Here I am. I don't know why it didn't pop up. I had to go like to my streams list. All right, here we are. We're live. We are live. I haven't been live in so long.
Okay. Sorry.
Let
There
me
we go.
get the new stream link so I can copy it and send to my Discord.
This is so weird, but you know what? I actually kind of like it.
That link did not work. Why did that link not work? We are public, right? Yeah, we are public. Okay. Let me get that. Change the link to that. That's about right. Okay. Welcome back to Stupidiots. For everybody who's not watching this live, this is as you can tell by the picture, it may look a little different than our usual cover for Stupidiots. This episode was recorded live. Um, you can catch us live on YouTube at Aqualeader Jesse or on Twitch or Fairy Fox Gaming for select episodes, which will always be announced at the end of the previous episode. Specifically whenever we get a tie. For those who did not see the last or did not listen to the last episode of Stupidiots, we got a tie, and so we are beginning our project of ranking every Walt Disney Studios animation film ever, all 61 of them from worst to best, doing 10 per video, except for this one we'll be doing 11, as there are 61 at the time of recording. There are 61, or time of streaming, I guess, in this regard. There are 61 out. Wish, the 60-second film, is slated for release this November. Super fucking hyped for that movie. It looks great. But everything from Snow White and the Seven Dwarves up to Strange World. We are ranking from worst to best. Today we'll be doing 11, numbers 61 up through 51. And yeah.
You know, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know why I thought that was 10. I think it was like from the 61 to 51 is
Yeah.
what threw me off.
Yeah, because then we'll be doing 50 to 49, or sorry, 50 to 41, then 40 to 31, 30 to 21, 20 to 11, and 10 to 1. But we will do one of these every time we get a tie. That's our sort of our tiebreaker thing. This time, not only we're doing it live, but we are doing it with wine. There's some ASMR paper bag crinkling sound effects for everybody.
Wow, you didn't even have it prepared. You
No, I had it prepared. I wanted to open the bag on episode. Also, let's turn on some music. Why I forgot to play the music.
Wow, you didn't even play music.
I had it pulled up. I was so focused on everything else. I had it pulled up, but I forgot. But now it's up. Anyway,
he was focused. He was focused on wine. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I kept it in the bag on purpose, just for the ASMR of me taking it out of the paper bag. So while we're on the topic of wine, was it on episode or was it off episode where you said you hated wine? I know it was like when we were recording, but I didn't know if it was on recording or like before or after we finished recording.
It might have been on recording. I honestly can't remember.
I don't either.
But yes, I absolutely. Well, okay. Specifically, I've never had like. Is it rose or is it rosé?
Rosé is how it's pronounced. I just typed rose because I was using my computer keyboard and can't put the accent over the E.
Yeah. So I've never had rosé, and I've never had like a white wine. I've only had red wine, and I absolutely hate red wine.
She has a sweet tooth, if y'all remember from the food episodes.
I do, and it's just too freaking bitter. I could not stay. I took one sip and almost spat it out. It was that bad.
Which is when I told her she would probably like white wine more. I love red wine. Red wine is my preferred way, but white wine is sweeter. So I said she would like that. I think she also ended up settling on rosé, which is also sweeter. Um, I haven't had one
Yes.
in a while, so I don't remember exactly how much sweeter than a regular red wine it is, but I got my cork out.
Hopefully a lot sweeter.
It is.
So
It
what
is
are
definitely
you?
can't be any more bitter than red wine.
So what are you drinking currently right
I
now?
am filling up my glass right now with my go-to. Um, it's not the most expensive wine, but it's not like barefoot levels of cheap either. Apothic Red is the name of it. Um,
Classic red.
I'll be honest, I tried it shortly after I turned 21 because I thought the bottle looked cool. Um, and then I ended up actually really liking it, so it sort of become my go-to.
Um. So I'm trying, and this is gonna sound really weird when I say this. It literally says picnic on the bottle. Okay, so it says picnic. It's spelled really weird though. It is a rosé, and let's see. It's from. I'm gonna butcher this. It's Languedoc Rosillon, France.
Hmm.
So I thought it'd be interesting to try it. It's like a 2017 bottle, and we've had it for like 4 years now.
And mine's from California, but it's just it's one I can find pretty much everywhere, and I know I like it. It's not quite as cheap as something like Barefoot, but it is still on the cheaper end. It's not like a I'm sorry for that like extreme chair creaking there, but it's not like collector's level wine you can buy it at Walmart. Um, but it's still like slightly more expensive, like a few dollars more. Most of the places I go for it.
I think this bottle was like $15.
I don't remember what mine was, if I'm being honest. I honestly didn't pay attention. I just get it every time, so I don't remember what the cost was.
I also want to say that I totally did not grab a wine glass out of the kitchen, so I'm just gonna drink it out of a coffee cup. We're just going old school bougie with it.
This reminds me of that one time a long time ago. I forget if it might have been on a drinking night stream we did a couple years ago, um, back with the crew, where you were having whiskey straight out of the bottle because you forgot to grab a glass. Kept
Yeah,
poking fun at you.
straight up. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna drink it right out of the bottle. And actually, it's kind of funny because I actually have the bottle still sitting next to me. But it's like
From
it's
2 years
not the
ago?
seven. Yeah, because I have like one of the massive bottles. Okay, I have like the
Hmm.
massive bottle. It's not like the 750. I don't even know what it is, but I don't drink it that often. So like I've had this whiskey for like 2 years now. It's so bad. I'm not like Ace when it comes to whiskey. When Ace gets whiskey, he drinks the whole thing right then and there. I'm like, how? 10 shots and I'm gone. Like, what?
For whiskey, I do it off the rocks or on the rocks specifically. I sip it. I'm not, and I'll do it as a shot. But if I'm just doing it at home, I don't feel any obligation to do it as a shot. I'd rather just sip on it.
See, I sip on it too sometimes, but I never put ice in mine because I can't stand how watered down it gets because I do sip it slow if I am sipping it. So I can't have it on the rocks.
I sip it fast enough to not let it get watered down, um, but not so
I
fast to where like
don't.
I'm just straight drinking it. Because I don't put ice in like my soda or anything for that exact reason. I don't want it to get watered down. Also, the ice takes up space in the cup where I could be getting more soda. But
True. Whiskey and Coke is one of my favorites. So
speaking of which, for 4th of July, I got some of those cans of Jack Daniels and Coke. Like they're actual like like literally together in a can, where it's Jack number 7 and Coca Cola mixed together.
yeah,
It's pretty good.
I haven't tried those. I'm gonna have to.
Like whiskey and Coke, it is like the pretty much the what's the word I'm looking for? Um, the probably I don't know, maybe just definitive whiskey, like the most popular, like the whiskey that people think of when they say whiskey. Jack Daniel's #7, and Coca-Cola, the most famous soda of all time, just mixed together. It is like literally whiskey and Coke. But
Hold on, I need to make a comparison on something real quick.
Okay.
Okay, it's really weird. I had to pull this whiskey out. I had to pull the whiskey out. It's really weird because I was smelling this wine, right?
Mm-hmm.
It smells stronger than the damn Crown Royal. It's so weird, right? It has like a very strong smell to it. It's
weird.
Like a lot stronger than the whiskey. The whiskey's kind of more subtle and it has like mine specifically an apple flavored, but it's more like a subtle apple and doesn't really smell that strong of a whiskey.
The Crown Royal apple I've had, it's pretty good.
But this wine, it smells as if this is what whiskey should smell like. And it doesn't. And I'm like, this is so weird. I have yet to taste it because I'm kind of slightly nervous to taste it.
Regardless of your feelings, I guarantee you it's not going to be anywhere near as bitter as red wine. And I don't know which one you had. Red wines are also on a spectrum of how bitter they are, but like...
I no longer have the bottle, or I would tell you what I had. Because I think she used it for cooking after that.
There are some companies that like actually have like a sweet to bitter like bar at the bottom somewhere or on the back. And I know back when we were first starting drinking, there was one that was for rosé that we got for Shelby, and it was definitely on the sweeter half, whereas all the reds are on the bitter half.
Okay. I don't know how to really describe this because it does still have like a slight bitter taste to it, but definitely nowhere near as that red was. Like I could drink it.
Rosé is pink, right?
It is.
Yes, I believe that one is like in the middle between like white and red in terms of like the bitterness and sweetness. But if you think pink, or if you think that's better than red wine, you'll probably like a white Merlot or something, or white Moscato. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. It's
not. It's
say
not
white Moscato.
bad.
White Moscato is basically grape juice. Basically white grape juice, spiked is basically what it. Yeah, I couldn't even tell you it was spiked. Like it tastes like white grape juice.
I don't know. I feel like I guess I'm a little slightly disappointed because it said it's supposed to have like a strawberry melon flavor, and it definitely does not have a strawberry melon flavor.
I don't think it tastes like that, but I don't, or at least I don't remember. I don't don't have that often. I pretty much always have red, so I only ever have like sips of Shelby's stuff.
Specifically, this bottle was supposed to have hints of like strawberry and melon, and it does not. It definitely does not. It's not too disappointing, and it's not too bitter. So like I can definitely stand it. I know we were like, or at least I said, if I didn't like the wine, I was definitely going back to my whiskey because whiskey's better anyway. But you know what? I think I can do this. I think I can. Definitely won't be able to drink like multiple glasses. I could just probably do 2 glasses of this, but no more than that.
All right. Well, with that part out of the way, what say you that we 15 minutes into the episode get started on this here? Which I'm totally fine with this episode going long. It's a live stream. It's fine going long, and this is a big event episode. This is the most important episode we've had so far because it's part of our big thingy. It's our first time.
Thingy.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was just too good. It was part of our big thingy. Way to downplay the podcast, Jesse. Jeez.
Yeah. It's part of a big event. It's also the first time we'll be doing more than 10 list items in an episode, as we'll be doing 11 for this one.
It's not that big of a difference, though.
It's not that big of a difference. And overall, in all, we're doing 61, but in one episode, we're doing 11. Um, but to any of the Disney fans out there, I said this at the end of the last episode, but in case somebody either wasn't here the last episode or just didn't stick around that late for it to hear that, because it kind of got, by we, I mean me, I got kind of rambly for a while there.
When are you not?
Yeah, right. Don't be put off by any negativity in this episode, especially like toward the start, because this is the bottom of the list. And while I do love most of the movies Walt Disney Animation Studios has put out, not all of them are great. But by the time we get to the top of the list, we'll be at or by the time we get to the end of this episode, we'll already be at movies I enjoy. It's just the bottom, like probably like the bottom half of this episode's numbers are ones I specifically don't like. The other ones I at least enjoy watching to some level, and I'll watch for any reason other than because I need to remember what this Disney movie was like before I make podcast episodes on it to make sure they're as bad as I thought they were.
Interesting.
But yeah, with all that being said out of the way, so another thing I thought about earlier, we typically have the person who loses the previous episode called the coin toss, which nobody lost. It's a tie. So I was thinking, do you want to just do heads it's me, tails it's you?
Yeah, that's fine. That works.
I feel like since that's usually what each of us calls, that's probably the easiest way. So we'll call up our third member of the podcast here, Alexa. Flip a coin. Alexa, said flip a coin, damn it.
Sorry, I'm not sure.
What? Alexa, flip a goddamn coin.
I don't know that one.
Alexa, flip a coin. Or
Okay.
you're fired.
Flipping.
Oh my god.
It's heads.
Thank you, Jesus.
I don't know that one.
You do it every week. It's literally I don't use you for like anything else. That's the primary reason you're even in here. I hardly use you for anything else.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
God. Okay, so heads, I get to pick. This episode, I think I would like for you to guess mine first, specifically, so I can. I don't know, just because but I feel like that's kind of been the pattern. Might as well keep it going for this one. We're gonna change the or at least potentially change the order. We'll flip the coin again each of these episodes. It's not gonna be me going first necessarily, unless the coin decides it to be that way. But necessarily going first every single one of these episodes as they go on. But
Yes.
so with all that out of the way, all the setup, also at the end of this whole thing, I realized we talked about this off camera, not on camera, or on recording, on podcast. At the end of this whole series of 6 videos, we will have an ultimate winner based on who scored the most points throughout the whole thing. I don't know what that's going to necessarily determine. Like, I don't know what you get for winning the whole thing. I didn't think that part all the way through. But I guess just bragging rights as of right now for winning the whole thing. We'll probably come up with some reward, but at the rate we're currently going, it'd probably be like a year before we finish the whole thing.
That's true. True.
So I got some time to think about it. But obviously, for each individual episode, we'll also be keeping score to determine who picks the topic for the next week's episode, or if we do another one of these, if we somehow manage to tie again, which I don't think will be the case. So, what is your guess for my number 61?
Okay, so this was so much harder than I thought it would be, because there are so many good movies and so many. Well, no, they're all good, but point being, there's so many movies and it's so hard to pinpoint where they would fall. So I assumed, the way I did yours, I assumed that these would probably be on your lower half. That way you can keep all the good movies towards the top.
Yeah.
So for 61, I put The Great Mouse Detective.
No, I did not put The Great Mouse Detective as my number 61. My number 61 is Home on the Range.
Ooh.
Home on the Range is not what I would ever consider to be a Disney movie if it didn't have Disney at the start of the movie and the thingy. It seems like a DreamWorks or Illumination movie, and not even in a good way. Like they're forgettable movies that nobody talks about anymore.
Oh my
Like,
god, that's hilarious.
it's like and there's the one yodel ladle 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 lady who yodeling song. That's the only thing like memorable in terms of music. The characters aren't funny. There's no seriousness in the whole movie, and the animation isn't even that great to look at. It seems like it wanted to go for like a Western style of visuals, but it only did that by making everything yellow and orange or washed out. And I rewatched it recently just to make sure that it was as unenjoyable as I thought it was, and I just cannot. I literally watched the whole movie. I haven't seen the movie in probably like at least 10 years, and not a single time in the whole movie did I laugh or even smile or nod my head to the music that much. Again, I guess you could make the argument the yodeling song, yodel ladle a hoo or whatever, is okay, but that's about it. It's not like it's not harmful. Like it's not. I wouldn't necessarily the story is like say the story is horrible. It's just I expect so much more from a Disney movie, and this was just you wouldn't have known it was a Disney movie if it didn't tell you at the beginning. There's none of the qualities that make Disney movies great are present
Yeah,
and Home
that
on the
makes
Range.
sense.
Shelby
makes sense.
Shelby likes this movie. She knows that this is the movie I specifically disagree with her on. She's like, "Oh, I loved this movie as a kid." I was like, "As a kid, I'm sure you did. If you watched it now, I guarantee you it's not as entertaining. But if you still enjoy it, that's okay. If anybody here that does enjoy that movie, that's totally fine. I don't specifically actually have problems with it as much as it is just missing everything that I tend to specifically like from any Disney movie.
That makes sense.
So, yeah. I was originally planning on going on a full-on like rant and talking about how much this movie fucking sucks, but like upon rewatching it, I realized it's not so much that there's so much wrong with it; it's that there's nothing right. There is a difference. Like, there's a difference between having a house that doesn't have anything looking good about it and having a house that's completely ugly. It's just like
That's
a
true.
standard house that you would not have known was important if it didn't say important house on the sign on the lawn. That's basically yeah. That allegory might make no sense, but it's one of those where it's not that I specifically hate what it does. It's I just don't like anything it does.
That makes sense.
Everything is mediocre at best. Anyway, so on to my guess for your number 61. I put Melody Time.
Incorrect.
Damn.
That is absolutely incorrect. No. My number 61 is Saludos Amigos.
I figured I knew it had to be one of the wartime movies. I just didn't know which one. I was guessing Melody Time, but
It definitely is, and legit, my only opinion on it was just because of how old it was. And it was like just something that maybe if I had seen it as a kid, maybe I would have liked it. But like watching it now with all the other Disney movies that are out there, it's just like I couldn't connect to it. I just felt so
Yeah.
indifferent about it.
yeah.
So
I'm gonna save. All of these are gonna appear on our list at some point, so I'm saving all my opinions until we get around to my portion of it. But we are at 0-0. I feel like I know how the one thing I feel good about with this episode is I have a feeling that a certain five or six movies are going to appear in the bottom 11 for both of us. Um, that's but
Probably.
the numbers 50 through 20, I would say, is where the real challenge is going to be.
Yes. 100%.
But
So for number 60 for you, I felt like this movie probably would have been on the bottom of your list. Just because of the story plot itself, I don't think you would have liked really as much. I put The Sword in the Stone.
that is incorrect. My number 60 is Chicken Little. This is a movie that I actually really liked as a kid, but throughout my teen years and adult years, back whenever I used to take like car rides for I guess I should say, every vacation I went on as a kid, no matter how far away it was, we drove because my stepdad was scared of heights and flying. Um, so we would spend like 12-hour days in the car watching Disney movies. And Chicken Little, I just grew to hate over time. Where some other movies that were Disney movies on those trips, I still love incessantly, including my number one on this list. I watched every single time we took one of those road trips, and I never got tired of it. So it's not just
Interesting.
repeat watching that put it that low. It's the fact that over time I just came to realize that outside of the main trio of characters, every single other character in the entire movie is horrible. is a total jackass and is a douchebag to everybody else in the entire movie, which I know is kind of the point, but it's so grating to watch. Like see everybody being horrible for no reason.
What is that Fox character's name?
The Fox character. Oh,
Like Francesca Fox or something like that?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think
There,
like she was like obviously the worst offender. Like she was
yeah,
always the lead of it.
yeah, and like the dad
Which
was
is sad.
the dad was a horrible dad throughout the whole thing,
Dude,
and
that dad was such an asshole.
I know, like it was like there's no. I get it was kind of the point, but I think it could have been executed to where there were more understandably like give more understanding to those characters, add more at least some level of sympathy to them or something to make it feel more believable as opposed to just everybody is a douchebag who just all of a sudden is nice at the end because they were wrong.
That's true. Yeah.
There were still some funny jokes, like the fish with the tank on, that scene in the dodgeball part when he's like doing the bam, 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 and he's doing like the dance, like pushing his head to the side, and he like dodges all the balls, and then like the pig just gets freaking blasted doing everything. At least as a kid, it was funny, but this is one that like
Oh, yeah.
by the time I was like 13 or 14, I hated the movie. I
I
like
think my
the scene
favorite part.
with the cue cards for the mayor, like when it's like it's a
Yeah.
he said it's a what's a doa.
I think my favorite part though was like when they're in the cornfield and the alien invasion's going on, and you just like hear all of a sudden like hear like that weird noise.
Oh,
And
it's him eating the
everybody
corn.
and everybody turns around and it's just the pig eating the corn, and I'm like cracking up. I'm like, oh my god, are you serious?
I remember that from the trailer way back in the day. Like I don't remember the trailer in its entirety, but I remember that part being like the punchline part of the trailer.
Yeah.
There are things to enjoy in the movie. It's just that is such a grating quality to it of everybody being horrible outside of Chicken Little, Fish, Pig, and the ugly duckling that I don't remember the name of. Everybody else is horrible. The entire town is full of horrible people. All the teachers, all the students, all the townsfolk, the adults, other kids, just even the aliens. All the aliens, like even the cute little alien, in a way, is also sort of a dick at times. It's like
That's
the
true.
I just yeah, it's very it's one that just pisses me off to watch, and it ending doesn't feel happy. I'm like, you guys are still fucking douchebags. I still hate you. which is I feel like is not the intention for how you're supposed to feel at the end of those movies.
Right.
So, yes, Chicken Little is my number 60. For your number 60, I put Make Mine Music.
Incorrect.
Is it the Three Caballeros?
It is. Yes, it is. You got it correct.
Like, obviously I can't change my list, so I had to still say Make Mine Music, but when you put Saludos Amigos at 61, I felt Three Caballeros had to be 60.
Yeah. Yeah. Same reason as the first one. Same reason. I don't really have an opinion on it. So I'm just gonna move off of it. So, for your 59, I actually did put, Saludos Amigos on there. Because I felt like you would also kind of have that at the bottom just for the reason of saving the better ones for the top.
That is interesting, though it is not quite correct. My number 59 was Make Mine Music, the one I just guessed for yours. It is. I'm gonna leave this up. This is one of the. If anybody doesn't know this movie or any of the movies on Whitney's list so far, plus this movie, these movies are from an era of time after what's called the golden era of Disney: Snow White, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, and Bambi. Whenever World War II was going on, and they lost a lot of people and budget, so they didn't have the budget to make very high quality movies for the most part, and had to cost cut in a lot of places. And it led to what are called package films, which is just movies that are basically smaller movies compiled together into a big one with just something tying them together, sort of like an anthology movie. And this, both of hers and this one are some of those. Make Mine Music is one that was so blatantly obvious that they made the movie simply so they can try to stay in business more so than actually having a vision. That this movie, it's also because of some problematic stuff from the time, but it is the only movie out of all 61 of these to not even be on Disney Plus. They just won't put it on there. Make Mine Music is sort of like Fantasia. I feel like most people know Fantasia, where it's a series of shorts with music based around music that's playing. Make Mine Music is similar in that premise, but whereas Fantasia was done out of an artistic vision and was actually at the time the most expensive movie Disney ever made. Make Mine Music was one of the cheapest films they ever made, and it felt like they just a series of okay animated shorts with music playing. Not that there's anything I guess necessarily wrong with that, but it doesn't really do anything for you. It's just I watched a series of shorts with music playing in them. And they don't have the like artistic segments either, like where it's like I'm trying to think of the word to describe it. In Fantasia, there's ones where it's not like a say the Sorcerer's Apprentice, where you see Mickey like in the brooms walking around and they're like flooding the basement, whatever. Where it's not a specific story, it's more so just a series of visuals, and it's sort of abstract, and it's meant to be like an artistic representation of what the music's supposed to make you feel. These are just kind of some shorts they slapped on that kind of fit with the music, and they are like cartoon shorts as opposed to anything abstract or artistic. Not that cartoons can't be artistic, but you know what I mean. That sort of like, I don't know, I don't know how to describe it other than like an abstract art sort of way. There were ones that were made out of these shorts were ones made out of necessity as opposed to ones they genuinely wanted to make and set out with a vision to do so. Which is something you'll probably find me repeating a couple times in this episode.
Yeah, it clearly shows it. Yeah,
but
I don't know.
funnily enough, we're about to get some points on the scoreboard, because my guess for your number 59 was the Three Caballeros.
Fuck.
So that makes 2 for me.
Well, that's where you're wrong, Jesse. You see, I had Make Mine Music as as what 59 was. So you technically get 4 points.
Alright, so we are up to... I'm up to 4-0 all of a sudden.
Yeah.
From 0-0 to 4-0.
I think you pretty much summed up Make Mine Music. Really not
There's
good. Not a good.
There's no real reason to watch it unless you're wanting to like specifically see what those movies are about for that time. You're not really gonna, unless you specifically just love 40s cartoon shorts specifically. You may get something out of there. It's not that it's like awful animation or anything. It's just, you know, compiled in shorter form and more basic. It's the to save on costs and no voice acting for the most part. Yeah, just a lot of cost cutting in it. But if you like that kind of stuff, I guess you may enjoy it. But that's not what I particularly go to a Disney movie for, especially when Fantasia, another Disney movie, did it so much better.
True.
It's not just because it's music themed shorts. I'm not gonna spoil where, but the Fantasia ranks a lot higher than these movies do.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I do have an opinion, but that's gonna have to be stuck in a pin and moved elsewhere for a little bit later. But yeah, no, Make Mine Music was 59, and obviously you know the Three Caballeros was before that. So it does put you at 4 points. Speaking of the Three Caballeros, I put that as your 58.
Not quite. My number 58 was Melody Time.
Ooh, okay.
Cut and paste what I said about Make Mine Music, just not quite as bad. Like, just slightly more interesting shorts. Put Melody Time above Make Mine Music for me. Make Mine Music had. I'm trying to specifically remember the shorts that Make Mine Music had. It had. I remember there was one. I believe it was. Or sorry, Melody Time. It had, not Make Mine Music. Melody Time had one that was this guy who was ice skating, and trying to impress a girl, and there was also a guy squirrel on that. It wasn't in a rink, it was in like nature on a frozen lake or whatever. There was a squirrel trying to impress another squirrel at that same lake, and their stories kind of like parallel. It was pretty cute, so that puts it slightly above Make Mine Music. That's the only reason.
Interesting.
It puts it up to 58 instead of 59. But
Okay.
speaking of which, for your number 58, I'm gonna nab another point real quick because I had Saludos Amigos.
Damn you.
That puts me up to 5.
No, it was not, obviously. We already know that was 61.
Yeah.
58 was Fun and Fancy Free.
Interesting. Okay.
Yep, Fun and Fancy Free. Again, no opinions on it. So I'm just gonna move on because you have more knowledge about these than I do. And I'll explain that in a minute. But for your 57, I actually did put Melody Time.
Yeah, let me get back to my list. Sorry, I have to keep tabbing between ours. So you put Melody Time, so that's 2 more points for you. Or 2 points for you. These are your first 2. Unless you guess. No, I don't think you had guess. What did you guess for my number 58? I forgot.
The Three Caballeros.
Well, another 2 points for you because my number 57 was the Three Caballeros. So it is 5-4. This got a lot closer out of nowhere. This one, it's sort of similar to Melody Time and Make Mine Music, but it is slightly improved in that there seemed to be not quite as much as a couple movies, a couple and spots higher than this one, but it at least seemed like it had some sort of goal as opposed to being just kind of loosely tied together by the fact that they're all shorts. Three Caballeros had the sort of theme of, you know, with the Three Caballeros, the characters. If anybody doesn't know those, like, I feel like they've kind of appeared in other like Mickey Mouse media because their association with Donald Duck. It's got a bit more of a theme to it with the sort of Mexican or Spanish style of music going on, but there's another movie that does it slightly better. We'll get to in a second, but it's at least enough to put it up higher than Melody Time and Make Mine Music, which were just kind of different random shorts with music in them. But my guess for your number 57 was Fun and Fancy Free. So that's 2 points for me. This is probably going to be the highest scoring round we have for a while, because this is the exact era of movies that I think we both knew the other person would have toward the bottom.
Yeah, 100%. Incorrect. My 57 was Melody Time.
Okay, so there's one more point. So then that's 8 to 4. So Melody Time as your guess for 61. And
Yes.
yeah, there's not really much to say about that one, I imagine, for you.
No.
Because there's not a lot to talk about with the movie in general, outside of the whole era as a whole.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take that pin out the wall now.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and say I actually don't watch any of these movies. Which is partially why I don't have an opinion on them. Because I know you told me to watch them, but I couldn't bring myself to it. It's just so emotionally disconnected from these movies, because I didn't grow up with them, that I could not force myself to sit down and watch them. Like I've been meaning to sit down and watch them. I couldn't do it. I couldn't force myself to sit there and watch these movies. I was like, you know what? They're going on the bottom of the list. I really can't stand it. So
I figured they would be the bottom. Those are. I had. There was one or two of them I thought you may have seen, which you haven't. Well, one of them you haven't mentioned yet from that era that I put up a little higher. But I figured at least the Make My Music, Melody Time, Three Caballeros, Saludos Amigos, and possibly Fun and Fancy Free, because I couldn't remember if you had seen that one or not. But at least those four, possibly that fifth one, will be at the very bottom. There's one that I thought we had talked about, the one other movie from that era. I thought you may have seen, so I thought it might be higher, but I guess we'll find out in just a moment, based off of whether it's in this episode or not. But yeah.
Alright. Yeah. We're on 56, right? For you? I'm so confused. I get lost so many damn times. It's not even funny. So funny enough, for your 56, I put Fun and Fancy Free.
Interesting. Well, that is not correct. My 56 was Saludos Amigos. Did you say that at some point?
Yeah, that was 59.
I figured you probably did, but we've been saying these names so often, I don't remember who said them where. Yeah, so Saludos Amigos has probably the best theming out of the wartime era films mentioned so far, because at least has the theme of like it's kind of educational about, or at least attempting to be educational. It's kind of pretty dated with its depictions. I would say it's something that probably wouldn't be okay nowadays to describe, but it was at least attempting to be like educational about Mexico, and it had or Spain, that sort of, Hispanic area of the world, and it was kind of educational in that regard. At least it felt like it had a reason to exist, and the shorts were kind of tied together by something that felt like it at least had a reason to be made, albeit not a great one, not a very Disney one, but at least something that ties it all together outside of just being shorts with music. It has a it felt like they at least this was also I believe was the first wartime era movie. I could be wrong about that. I'm going off of memory here, but I think it was the first one. And I feel like at least for the first one, they put some amount of thought into what the theme of the movie was going to be. And you can tell by the name Saludos Amigos that it's got a Spanish theme to it, but yeah. Whereas other ones like Make Mine Music and Melody Time, all you can get out of that is music.
Music.
And that's I guess you could say that about some other movies like as well, I guess, but just not there didn't seem like there's as much of a vision to it as opposed to something like Fantasia. And
Yeah.
Fantasia is probably going to be the most talked about movie on this episode that I'm not going to I guess spoilers, I'm not going to list in this episode. But yeah, Saludos Amigos is my number 56. My guess for your 56, this was the one that I didn't know if you had seen or not. So I feel like you have, considering you pulled the pin after mentioning every other movie from this era. And I thought we had talked and said you had mentioned it, but I wasn't sure, so I put it at 56 anyway. That is The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
I have seen it. Yes. I will go ahead and say it's really good, maybe.
Yeah, that was actually the one that was. I say that it's spoilers by the fact that neither of us have said it so far. That is the best movie from that era, by a long shot.
It's not 56.
Well, that's good news for me because I really like that movie too. So.
56, and this literally has nothing to do with like how good or how bad it is. It's legitimately just there's so many good movies. But just because of the plot line, I was like, you know what, it's safe to put it down here. The Black Cauldron.
Interesting. Yeah, and that's
The Black Cauldron.
that is one of the bigger flops Disney had, financially at least, back in the dark age of Disney, back after Walt passed.
I actually really enjoyed it. It was like one of my like favorite childhood movies because it's like the little pig was so freaking cute in it, and then like you had that little gruffy looking thing. I didn't even know what creature it was. It was just like
Yeah,
it looked like
I
an
know who
old
you're
man
talking
with like a lot of hair.
It was like a sloth or something. I don't remember what. I can't
I
remember
don't
his name
know.
either. I remember. I don't even remember the main. What was the main dude's name? I know Ilanwi was the princess because that's a weird name, and there's the Horned King. Forgot the main kid's name.
I honestly can't remember. That's how long it's been. But hold on, I'm gonna.
I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen it. That's one I want to rewatch soon. But yeah,
I want to know what kind of creature that thing was. So you had the creeper, which was like that little goblin thing that was like the Horn King's little assistant, which is freaking hilarious.
That movie was one parents especially back at the time hated because it was so dark for a Disney movie. I was the first one to get bumped up to PG instead of G on the rating. And I don't think PG-13 even existed at the time. It was just G, PG, and R. Unless if it did, it hasn't been around very long at that point. Because I know it came about not too long after Jaws released, and I don't remember when in the 80s that was.
Yeah. Also, I just figured out Gurgi is the name of the creature I was looking for.
That's right.
They say it's a badger-like creature.
A badger?
Yeah.
He does not look like a badger. But
yeah.
Him I actually kind of found kind of annoying, but
no.
But the Horned King is somebody that I wish would appear more in like the Disney Villains franchise because he's so fucking cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
see here. Hold on, I gotta find my list again. Okay. So yes, Black Cauldron was number 56. Um, for your 55, I actually put Make Mine Music.
Yeah, well, there's another point for you. It is now 8-6. Because I listed that earlier. My number 56, or sorry, wait, we're talking 55, right?
Yeah, 55.
Okay, sorry, I got to, I said 6, and then my mind went to 56, and I was like, I already said this one. I confused. Okay, my number 50, my number 55 is the newest movie on this list. Not the newest movie to come out, but the newest movie this episode. My number 55 is Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Oh, interesting.
I like the beginning of the movie. It's a movie that starts off strong and to me just gets kind of worse as it goes. And there are some highlights in it. I don't think it's bad. I just really don't like the third act with like all the spoilers, I guess. We're gonna talk spoilers probably in a good amount of these, by accident. But all the clone Ralphs and they all come together to make a bigger Ralph.
Yeah.
And the idea of him bringing a virus in there, which I know it's meant to be, he's dumb, but like he literally already knew better going in. He's already like learned that lesson earlier in the movie, but has to learn it again for the sake of having a climactic final battle for no real reason. And there's a reason of he has to learn to let go of Vanellope. I feel like that could have been handled a lot better and in a lot more of I guess, more grounded way. I feel like would work a lot better than trying to make a big scale out of it. For no reason. I think I would rather there be like a more of an emotional moment between the two of them, where he has to just kind of learn based off of stuff he's experienced, as opposed to literally having to fight an incarnation of his obsession that's just a billion clones of him, making a bigger version of him turn into a weird Ralph kaiju. But there's still plenty to enjoy in the film, especially in the first half. Like it's nice seeing them like after the first movie ended, and their friendship's kind of gone on, and I love the character design in the movie, like especially like in the arcade. Like I like Ralph. I like Vanellope's design. She's like really cute. I like the little. He's not prominent in this movie, but he's in the first movie. The little, like, I don't know what he is, like a hard candy. The little green guy with his arms and his hands and feet are attached to his body.
Isn't he like a lime drop or something?
Yeah, something like that. I like his design a lot. A lot of the character designs I like quite a bit. I think the characters are really cute. And there is some good comedy in there. And I like, especially like when they go into the internet and there's all like the pop-up ads and there's like, man, these people are so great. And stuff. Though it was weird that they could get the rights to Google but not YouTube. I forget what they called YouTube in there, like FaceTube or something. I don't remember.
FaceTube.
It was something weird like that, but they literally had a Google building. I'm like, they're the same company. Or did they just not want to? I guess that their YouTube replacement is used a lot more prominently, but eBay is used prominently as well. So I don't know. But that just seemed jarring to me, where every other website is like the actual thing. Except Google, they have the Google building, yet they still have him like ask the person at the desk to search for him. I guess it's supposed to be sort of like a weird tribute to Ask Jeeves. I don't know. But it's just one of those movies that kind of slowly decreases in enjoyment as it goes on for me. But there is still, especially that first half of the movie, there's still plenty to enjoy. I wouldn't say it's awful or anything. By the end of the movie, I'm just like, I feel like they kind of threw it away. But for my guess, for your number 55, I put The Black Cauldron. I can't believe I actually guessed. I can't believe I actually got that being that low. I was like, dude, that's a movie that people have very varied opinions on. I was like, I feel like that would be one she would have lower on the list, but not low enough to penetrate the wartime era.
Nope. Actually, and it's really fucking hilarious, and at the same time, kind of not, because I know you're about to be mad at me. Um, I put Fantasia as number 55.
Okay.
This
Okay.
is the moment our friendship ends.
It's
No, it's really good. I absolutely do love Fantasia. It's just there's so many good movies ahead of it that I had to put it at the bottom.
my main problem isn't necessarily how low Fantasia is, but the fact that you put it below Fantasia 2000.
Okay, to be honest, I don't remember Fantasia 2000. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm
Exactly.
gonna have to rewatch it. I can't remember Fantasia 2000. I can remember Fantasia, but not Fantasia 2000. I didn't even realize it was a Fantasia 2000 until I brought it up, like, before we started the live episode. Okay? And at that point, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stick to my guns here.
Fantasia, I can get it. It's not for everybody. Not everybody's into that specific type of movie. I can understand that part. It was just the fact that Fantasia 2000 hasn't been listed yet is the big, the big flabbergasting part. But I'd rather it be below Fantasia 2000 than below the wartime movies. So I'll take what I can get, I guess.
That's true. That's true. I could have totally put Fantasia 61 and then moved all the wartime movies up one.
Yeah.
In fact, how about I just fix my list right now?
No, hell no. Don't disrespect Fantasia like that.
Alright. Alrighty. For your 54, and I do have a very specific reason, and I probably should have put this one. You know what? I'll save that comment for. I'll save that comment. For your 54, I put Robin Hood.
No. My 54, I put Dinosaur. This is from 2000, I believe, is when this movie came out. It was the first fully 3D animated, well, mostly sort of 3D animated movie. The characters are 3D. The environments, I believe, are practical. Like, the characters are 3D animated, but the environments, if I recall, are practical. At least I hope so, because I rewatched it recently, and the backgrounds are very detailed. I believe it is practical backgrounds with 3D animation on top. So whether that counts as fully 3D animated, I don't know, because the environments aren't 3D. But the characters are 3D. First time that's happened for a full movie, at least that I can think of. Because that wouldn't happen again until... like, what is it, Meet the Robinsons, the next fully 3D animated movie? Something like... No, Chicken Little. Chicken Little was the next fully 3D one.
Yeah.
How did I forget that? We've already talked about it. But regardless, the movie isn't necessarily bad. I do enjoy it. The visuals are kind of dated. Some of the scenes don't look as great as they did back then. It was one of those movies that was primarily made to be a technological showcase. It's like at the time it was phenomenal in terms of its visuals, and the story gets quite dark for a Disney movie. This is around where I'd say I start getting to where I genuinely do enjoy the movies, at least to some extent. I would watch them because I want to watch them. I'd say that probably even with Ralph Breaks the Internet, I at least like the first half of the movie. I have only seen it like twice, but once in theaters and once on home video. But Dinosaur, I saw a bunch as a kid. I actually had the Game Boy Color game for Dinosaur, which I remember enjoying back then. I feel like, based on my memories, it would be boring now. But the movie gets quite dark with, you know, it taking place during what is essentially the apocalypse for dinosaurs. And I genuinely do really enjoy the movie. It's just that there's not anything specific to lift it up high enough to go above anything above it.
Right.
I genuinely really do enjoy it, but it's pretty dated now. But the story is actually pretty good. Just nothing else really stands out. Um, yeah. So moving on to my guess for your number 54, I put Chicken Little.
Incorrect.
Okay.
My 54 is actually Winnie the Pooh.
The 2011, I think it was 2011 one. The one that's just called
Perhaps.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the one that's called not the Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, just
Okay.
Winnie the Pooh. It is a good movie, but
Yeah, absolutely.
so many more things are so much better than it. Now, this is a movie that I can definitely watch multiple times. It's really good. It's dated. It's definitely dated, and there's just so many better movies out there at this point in time.
Yeah.
That unfortunately
there's a better Winnie the Pooh movies out there at the time.
Yeah. That's true.
But yeah.
So yes, it landed on the 54th slot. I think it also was kind of lowered a little bit after watching what's the name of that movie?
Winnie the
Goodbye
Pooh.
Christopher Robin? No, I think it was like Goodbye Christopher Robin.
Christopher Robin, I think is just what it was called.
Yeah, No.
The live action one with.
No, they have another movie called, I believe it is called Goodbye Christopher Robin. It's a somewhat of a documentary on Winnie the Pooh, and it was talking about like all the things that nobody like really knew about Winnie the Pooh and like the background of Winnie the Pooh. Specifically where the son was forced into this role of Winnie the Pooh just because his dad wanted to make money. And so he was kind of forced to be like this celebrity or like this idol. But he was also put into like military school at the same time. And so he got like bullied and picked on really badly because of it. And he could never make friends. It was just like a really horrific time in his life. He actually came to hate Winnie the Pooh so much that after his father passed away and he got all the rights to Winnie the Pooh, he decided not to accept any of the money that came from this whole franchise and gave it away all to charity because he hated it that much.
I thought you were going to say you hated it more after Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, the horror movie, came out.
Refuse to watch that.
I want to watch that, honestly. It looks fun bad. Like, it looks awful. For all the right reasons. Like, it looks incredibly stupid, but it feels like it'd be a great comedy movie.
Yeah. I don't know. I
great
guess
movie to laugh at. It's why I want to watch it.
Nah, I can't do it. You know what I do kind of wish, and this is completely off topic. Well, not really off topic, but they had like the Saturday Night Live Bambi rendition.
With Dwayne Johnson, yeah.
That would be hilarious to watch.
Isn't it like his Bambi comes to kill the hunter that killed his mom? Wasn't that what happens?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It's been so long since I've seen that, so I couldn't remember, but I believe that's what it was. Oh, that was great.
That was 100% what it was. And it's like, if I like go back and watch it sometimes just because it's a really funny skit, but I kind of wish that they would make that into a movie. And cast Rock as Bambi.
Yes.
It was just
casting
so great.
That would be great. Also, completely random. Just tying back to earlier in the episode, one thing I thought of that I want to talk about before we move on to my number 53. In regards to the wartime era movies. So I've sort of made a mental plan to raise my kids on every single Disney animated movie there is. Like not like make it to be the foundation of what they're raised on, but like to where they watch them all as kids. Like I don't want them to miss any of them and be like, oh, I never saw this one as a kid. I wish I could have, back in the time when you're meant to enjoy it. But like even when they're younger, I feel like some of those like really old ones from back in the 40s and wartime era. One thing I think they would make good use of is like just sort of like I wouldn't say lullaby music, but like you're just kind of like sitting there with your kid feeding them or something. And you want some like music or something that's kind of pretty kid appropriate to have on the screen. I feel like those movies would do the job, and especially some of the movies from like the Golden Age, like Snow White and Bambi. Like those movies kind of look like paintings brought to life. And those movies I plan on showing my kids as a baby. But that's the one time my kids will probably watch the wartime movies because they probably won't ever want to watch it of their own volition. um,
True.
that just popped into my mind a second ago. So, sorry for cutting in on you on that part, but I meant to mention it earlier and I completely forgot, and I knew I was going to forget again.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that, especially like the wartime movies, because like I said, I couldn't sit
Yeah.
down and watch it because I just didn't resonate with them.
I
If I
didn't
had watched them as a kid, I could, but
I didn't watch them until around 2016 when I, for the first time, binge watched every single movie the studio had made in a row leading up to the release of Moana. Um, and that was when I watched those for the first time. Also, at that time was when I started when I made my commitment to own every movie they release physically as well. That was also when I bought. I don't think it's controversial to say I own this, but I own a fan made physical copy of Song of the South. Do you know what that movie is? I should ask.
I do not.
Okay, so this I'm gonna start off by saying it is a movie that has not been re-released by Disney because it's a very problematic movie from back in the 40s. Took place like just after the Civil War, and it took place on a plantation. You know, where most all of the workers there are of African American. So you can start to see where it might become problematic, and it's basically in their depictions of those characters that is not most well received. But although most people still want it to be re-released because it's also a great like learning opportunity to show how movies were made back then, because obviously that was like before Martin Luther King and all that. And it's a good like educational thing, but Disney doesn't want to re-release it because they don't want a movie with such bad connotations
Right.
released. But it's sort of like Space Jam and Who Framed Roger Rabbit, in that it's got animated characters and animated portions in it. Where I don't know if you know the characters Brer Bear, Brer Rabbit, and Brer Fox.
I do not.
They are used in the Disney park attraction Splash Mountain, or I should say were used. That attraction is now closed. Because those characters they used for a long time from that movie, because they were not problematic. They were fine. And so they used them for a long time. Splash Mountain was based on it. One thing I guarantee you do know from Song of the South, I know this is completely off topic from the episode, but that Song of the South is where the song Zippity Doo Dah came from. The Zippity Doo Dah, Zippity Day.
Oh, okay.
That song. Yeah. That was one that was that's what the movie is most positively known for, is that song. And one thing that really sucks is because it was back in the 40s. The actor, I cannot remember his name. I feel really bad for not remembering his name, but who plays Uncle Remus, the main character, the plantation worker, was actually received an honorary Oscar for his role in that movie, but he was not allowed to attend the Oscars because he was black.
Yeah, I think I heard something about that.
And that's one of the things that's really unfortunate because he is really good in the movie. His acting is great. His singing is great. He sang that song. That's really unfortunate. But yeah, I bought a fan made digital copy from when it was aired on TV at some point in like the 80s or something, and somebody had recorded it onto a VHS tape, and then that VHS tape was getting converted into DVDs, and there was a fan made DVD off of it. I got off of eBay. That's how I watched the movie the first time, because Disney has never released it on home video. Yeah, random. That was my random other funny fact. Splash Mountain has the ride that was based off the movie. That's the Disney ride where you're on like the log in the water and you go like down. There's a lot of pictures on it where there's like a drop in the water.
Right.
That's one of their more famous rides, but it got closed and it's being turned into a Princess and the Frog attraction called Tiana's Bayou Adventure or something like that. But anyway, back to the list. I don't know how I got to Song of the South, but I did. I believe you were guessing my number 53. I think was where we were going next.
I believe, yeah, that's exactly it. Don't murder me.
Okay.
But I put Sleeping Beauty as your 53.
I'm not gonna murder you, but that is not incorrect. Or that is not correct. Sorry, that is not correct. Sorry.
That's not incorrect.
I couldn't decide if I want to say that's not correct or that's incorrect, and I unfortunately meant in the middle and said the opposite of what I meant. That is incorrect. My number 53 is a movie that kind of hurts to put it this low because it could have been so much better. My number 53 is Brother Bear. This is a movie I feel like you really like.
Just a movie I really like.
I would say I love the beginning of the movie, similar to Ralph Breaks the Internet. That's not one that gets like gradually down. I just think it leans a little too hard into the comedy. But like the beginning of the movie is like fantastic. Like it could be been in my top 10 if it kept with the pace of what like the first half hour of the movie did.
Yeah.
With like the like really emotional story with like his brothers and whatnot and the bear, and he goes down to like hunt the bear down and has turned it into the bear. Like that whole part of the movie, phenomenal. Like some of the best Disney's ever done. Especially like the scene of him getting turned into the bear, like with the northern lights going off and everything. I don't think it's technically the northern lights, but it looks like the northern lights. You know, the lights in the sky, where the lights meet the earth, I think, or lights touch the earth, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
Like that whole scene of him changing, that was beautiful, amazing. And even like some of the earlier parts on when he's like getting hunted by his brother, is pretty cool. But it starts to lean a little too heavily into comedy, and the comedy doesn't really quite land for me. And like throughout the end of the movie, it never really hits that emotional peak again for me.
Yeah.
It does have some pretty good music from Phil Collins. This is the second of Phil Collins's 2 Disney movies for the music. Like particularly I'm on My Way and Look Through My Eyes. What is it called? This Is Our Family Time, I think is another one. But I'm on my way specifically, or it might be just On My Way. I forget what the technical name is, but that song was pretty darn good. Some of the visuals are pretty good. The moose are pretty funny. Sometimes they're kind of annoying, but sometimes they are genuinely pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's a movie that like I want to like so bad because that first part of the movie is so good and at least for me set itself up to be like a really good, like one of the most emotional Disney movies ever. Like right up there with like Bambi and the Lion King. You know, levels of people remember crying while watching it. This could have been one of those movies to me. But it just kind of didn't quite hit that bar.
You. I don't know about you, but that whole scene where he had to tell Coda, you know, about his
that scene
mom,
was good.
That made me bawl so bad.
I didn't cry, but that scene was that scene I will give you did have a good amount of emotional weight. I just felt like there should have been more in terms of like him coming back into it, like when he comes back human, but then like also the part where he decides to stay a bear, I didn't really get, because outside of Coda, he kind of didn't really care for anybody else. If anything, I thought they would have like started a he'd come back human, but started a tradition to do things with the bears or something like that. I thought would be cool. Or even like have a thing where you can turn into a bear. It's just, I don't know. The ending didn't feel earned to me, and outside of I honestly up to that point I had almost forgotten about the scene where he had to tell Coda about his mom. But outside of that one part, it never really hits that emotional peak again for me. But the beginning of that movie is phenomenal. Not that the rest of it is like specifically bad. It's just that it was. I really wish I rewatched it recently because I was like, I could have sworn that movie was great, but I don't have that great memories of it. And I couldn't remember why. I rewatched it recently, and I was like, now I remember. Because it's one
Yeah.
that could have been a top 10 all-time Disney movie for me, but just didn't quite make it. But again, not bad by any means. I still would watch it for. There's still plenty of things to enjoy in the movie. So yeah, that was my number 53. Excuse me. But my number 53 for you was Home on the Range.
Incorrect.
Fuck.
So,
I banked
no,
my whole
my
list on that.
My number 53. My number 53 is Bolt.
Bolt. Okay.
It was an okay movie. Definitely, I would definitely not put this any higher than where it's at. Just because I guess I was highly disappointed with the movie itself.
Really?
Because the trailer that they released, how do I describe this? Was for the fake movie that they were making inside that movie.
For him being
And
a
I'm
superhero?
like, yeah, it would have been so much better if that was just legitimately what the movie was about.
I have a random other specific memory with the marketing for that movie. I remember at my local movie theater, this is the one, I don't know if I've mentioned it on the podcast or not, but in my teen years in high school, I worked at a movie theater for a couple of years. This is that movie theater. This is, most of my life has been around this movie theater. If I went to a movie theater, it was likely this one. My local movie theater had a standee for the movie, like earlier in the year, and it had, Bolt running, and you could see the hamster in the background and the hamster ball. And it said Bolt this Thanksgiving on the sign, or at the bottom of the standee, whatever. It was pretty big. It's a pretty big one. Like the big cardboard ones where they're kind of like, yeah. And then the movie came out. It was like the Friday before Thanksgiving, and I was like, "What the fuck?" It said it was Thanksgiving, and I didn't actually say what the fuck. I was like 10, but but that was my mindset essentially. I was like, "What the hell?" It said Thanksgiving. And my mom was like, "That was like 6 months ago. That was just the window. They didn't have an exact date. They were just meant around Thanksgiving." And I was like, "So they lied to me."
They lied to me.
I don't know why I cared so much that it was on Thanksgiving. Like, that's a horrible idea to release a movie on Thanksgiving, because nobody's gonna go see it. But
right.
But I don't know why I was so upset. But I remember being so upset that they lied on the poster. But it's saying Thanksgiving, and it was the Friday before. Might have been the Friday after, but it was like in November. I think it was the Friday before. Because Thanksgiving was on a Thursday. I don't know why they would release it on Black Friday. That'd also be a bad idea.
That really would be. Yeah, no, I completely get that. That's hilarious, though.
Yeah, actually, I was technically 9, because I believe that was 2007, and I turned 10 in 2007. Because another thing I keep forgetting, I'm the younger brother out of us. Whenever we can compare ourselves to being siblings, I keep forgetting I'm younger than you.
Yeah.
Hag.
Not by much. Hey, rude. Asshole. No, I don't know. I feel like that movie would have been so much better if it had been what it portrayed. If they had, like, advertised it as if it were a movie within a movie, maybe I wouldn't have been as disappointed as I was, but no, the way they portrayed it was the movie within its movie. And I'm like, okay, this is gonna be super badass. There's a dog with, like, superpowers that's, like, going on a freaking spy mission, right? And then, like, it's not. It's just a regular freaking dog that doesn't know that it's a regular damn dog. So upset. And I'm like, the only really good part I found in that movie was, like, the ending where he actually freaking, like, used the air vent to, like, save Penny. And I'm like, that's literally the only good part of this movie. That and when he was a baby puppy, because that was just fucking adorable.
He was adorable. Yeah.
He was so freaking cute as a puppy. I'm like, I really want that dog to be real and, like, in my lap right now.
If I ever have a dog that's got, like, a white coat, I have to name it Bolt. just because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that is why it is number 53.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about that. So for your number 52, I think this one's gonna get me into trouble with you.
Okay.
And I know I've said that about the last few, but I think this one's really gonna do it.
I don't think you guessing me incorrectly is gonna get me that upset, unless like my number one is this low, which would upset me because I already know you know my number one. So like, if you put it this low, I would be very shocked. Or I guess something that's like real, like in my top 10. I guess. Let's hear what it is. I suppose.
Do I know your number one? I feel like I do. I feel like I don't. I can't.
I guess we'll find out.
Unless you mean your number one for this list or your number one.
No,
overall.
my number one
I don't know.
overall. Number one overall. That's what I meant.
Okay. I probably may have put it on this list. Who knows? No. So your number 52, I put the Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
Okay. That is incorrect. I'm not gonna get that upset over that one, especially since my number 52 is Fun and Fancy Free. I actually hadn't mentioned that one yet. This one is just because I only put it up above Brother Bear and Dinosaur, which kind of hurts me to put it up above those two, because the other ones I have more of an attachment to the story. But Fun and Fancy Free is just that. Fun and Fancy Free. What do you want a way to describe the movie?
Right.
It is, in comparison to the other movies, I should say Fun and Fancy Free, as well as Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, which we'll get to eventually. It is, instead of a bunch of shorts, it is 2 like short films that are probably like 30 to 45 minutes a piece. So they have a little more depth to their story. I wouldn't say depth, but like a little more effort, I guess, in their story. Fun and Fancy Free, the first one is Bongo the Bear, and the second one is Mickey and the Beanstalk. Bongo the Bear is absolutely adorable. He's a unicycling bear that breaks out of the circus and goes to live in the jungle. It's really cute. And he's implied to lose his virginity at the end. It's great.
Oh my god.
At the end, there's this girl bear he has a crush on, and she leads him up into the tree. And right after they get to the top, the movie ends. And she's definitely giving him the eyes, but they're both kids, so that's kind of concerning. But I guess they're bears, so I guess it doesn't matter. But anyway, the movie is really cute. It's another one where there's no. Well, there is music, but there's not like dialogue, like not specifically talking, or at least for the Bongo the Bear portion. And the bridge, I should say, that connects the two of them is Jiminy Cricket from Pinocchio. Is the first part? He's in a house and he plays a record, and it's someone telling the story of Bongo the Bear. Then the second part, he goes like he was walking across the table and he sees like an invitation, and it's to a party. So like he kind of goes up to the house where it's at, even though the invitation wasn't for him, it's for whoever's house he just broke into. And he goes over to where the house is, and this dad who's telling a story it's a dad talking to his daughter and a ventriloquist puppet. He's not using a ventriloquist puppet. The ventriloquist puppet is sitting on the couch and talking by itself somehow. The dad has his, that little thumb puppet or hand puppet people do, where they have like their thumb as the mouth. It shows like the side of a fist. It's like that. And he has like Sharpie drawing a face on it, and he has like a white cloth over it to make like a veil to make it be like a girl or something. And he's like talking with it. And it's kind of goofy. And then once it's done, it shows like the daughter and the ventriloquist puppet, who looks a lot like Slappy from Goosebumps, or whatever the puppet's name is from Dead Silence.
It is Slappy.
It looks a lot like that, like him. Has sort of an attitude, which kind of makes him the best character of this whole movie. It's kind of funny because he's like sassy to everything the dad says. Like when the dad goes to tell the story of Mickey and the Beanstalk, he keeps like making remarks about everything. There's this other puppet in the background that I should ask Whitney. Have you ever seen Jeff Dunham, the ventriloquist comedian?
I have.
Got like Ahmed the Dead Terrorist and stuff. I
Yes.
don't know if you remember from Fun and Fancy Free or if that's one that you had seen at all.
I have not.
It is just Bubba J, the drunk puppet, the drunk beer bellied redneck puppet.
Oh,
It is
God.
just him. It is exactly the same. Like me and Shelby were watching this movie the other day. Like he was talking, I just went watching NASCAR and drinking beer, and she was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "It's literally this. It's almost the exact same puppet in terms of its design. It's weird. Like if I didn't know any better, I would have thought Jeff watched this movie and was like, "I got it."
I got it.
Like he's an idiot, and he doesn't say he's drunk because it's a kids movie, but he acts like he's drunk, and he's a total idiot, and he's got almost the same voice, and they are the best part of this whole feature. They're funny to me. The two ventriloquist puppets that I don't even know why they're there, but they're there. They're talking as if they're family friends, and he tells the story of Mickey and the Beanstalk. Like at the end of the movie when the giant falls to the ground or whatever. I don't even remember the name of him. I just call him Bubba J. That's what he reminds me of. The Bubba J puppet is literally crying. He's like, I hate those sad endings. The giant was just misunderstood. He's got like his country accent. And yeah. And Mickey and the Beanstalk was enjoyable as well. The giant was kind of cool. And it's cool seeing Mickey and friends in an actual Disney movie. That's not a very common occurrence, believe it or not. Like Mickey's only been in I think 3: Fantasia, Fantasia 2000, and Fun and Fancy Free. I think are the only 3 movies out of these he's properly appeared in. Unless he appeared in Ralph Breaks the Internet at some point. I wouldn't be shocked if he did. But like as an actual character, those are the only ones he's appeared in.
Well, he appeared like a Mickey Holiday once too.
Yeah, but that's not one of their main. It's not Walt Disney Animation Studios, though.
Oh, is it not?
No.
I swear to God, it was.
I think that's Disney Toon, I believe, is the studio that does that. That's their secondary one. Some of their movies get released in theaters. They did like a Tinkerbell, Return to Neverland. They do all the straight to DVD Disney sequels. They did a Goofy movie. I think it was that studio. Actually, we should do that studio's movies as a list eventually at some point as well. But I definitely have some movies to watch on those because I have not seen all of them. But Fun and Fancy Free it's one that doesn't take itself too seriously. It's at least like it's an enjoyable watch. It's not one that like you'll get invested in necessarily, but it's just a decent cartoon with just a good amount of fun to be had. Nothing more, nothing less. You get exactly what you ask for. Nothing better, nothing worse. So that puts it at number 52 for me. But my number 52 for you was Dinosaur.
Incorrect.
Wait, also, sorry, don't mean to cut you off, but didn't you say Fun and Fancy Free for me earlier?
I did.
Okay.
It was number 56.
Alright, I forgot to give you your point for it, and I just remembered. So I wanted to make sure I gave it to you before the end of the episode.
What is the score at right now?
Right now it is 9-7. My lead.
So you said 52 was Dinosaur?
Yeah.
Sad news, that is incorrect. Even sadder news, you get technically 4 points.
Why is that?
Number 52. Okay, actually, sorry. I may have spoiled something there. Sorry.
I'm so confused. I earned 4 points if I got this one wrong.
No. 52 is Home on the Range. I'll explain the other one in a minute. I got ahead of myself there a little bit, but no, so 52 is Home on the Range.
Okay. So it makes it 11-7 for now until I guess you're 51. I'm gonna take a shocking guess as Dinosaur, but I guess I'll find out.
Sorry. Anyway, no, sorry. I was looking at something else and then I got carried away. I completely disagree with you on Home on the Range, by the way. I was laughing so fucking hard when you were explaining everything. I absolutely loved Home on the Range. It was cute. I get where you're coming from though, where it doesn't look like a typical Disney movie, and I honestly forgot it was even a Disney movie, but it was still a good movie in my opinion. Just not the best movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if other people like it's okay. I just didn't care about the story and I didn't find it particularly funny and didn't really care for the music or the animation, or I guess I just didn't really care for anything about it. But it's not if other taste is okay. Other opinions are okay. If people like the movie, that is fine. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad somebody enjoys it and that all the work put into it wasn't for nothing.
Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and skip to your 51 though. Because this part you might actually legitimately kill me on, because I already know it's not your number one. From an earlier comment. I put Fantasia.
That was what I felt like you were gonna say, but that is incorrect. My number 51 is Robin Hood. This is.
So I do get a point for that one.
Yeah, I thought you might have guessed that one earlier. So I guess I win this episode, so we do not get a draw this episode, which is kind of unfortunate. I was really hoping we would. But
yeah, we were tied for like a few minutes there at one point.
Yeah, it could be a lot further apart. It went better than expected, but the future episodes, I guess, we remain to be seen. Because this episode primarily came down to what order you put the wartime movies in. But Robin Hood is a movie that I feel like is higher ranked on your list than it is on mine. It's not bad. It's just there's not like a very big emotional core to it for me, but it's a decent, just enjoyable movie with some fun animal characters. It's got a decent story. You got the Oodalali song. It's I wouldn't say it excels at anything, but it doesn't do anything wrong either. It's just a decent watch. I feel like some or maybe it's Disney themselves, I don't know, but some people portray it a little too high as a classic, but I don't think it's awful by any means. I think it's just a decent movie that's I don't think anybody will regret watching, but you're not necessarily missing much if you don't watch it either.
I never noticed until somebody pointed it out, though, how many scenes are completely copied from other movies.
Yeah, from like Jungle Book and stuff.
Yeah, like I never noticed that until like somebody like played the scenes side by side. I'm like, the fuck.
Yeah, it's from the Dark Age, which is the time period before the Disney Renaissance, but after Walt Disney passed away. There was a lot of budget cuts and whatnot, but it's not awful. But I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just not you're not missing much by not watching it. But there's still at least a good amount of an enjoyable movie here. Just nothing worth writing home about. It's a if you took your kids to see the movie in the theater, you'll probably leave okay. You'll probably leave at least somewhat happy.
Yeah.
But you may not buy it on DVD. Like, watch it on Disney Plus. Don't necessarily need to buy the DVD. Would be my recommendation.
Unless you just want to collect all the Disney movies.
Yeah, say unless you're like me, which case I bought it on Blu-ray. But that's I want to collect them all. I like to collect the things I care about, and Disney movies are one of them. So I like to own them all on DVD. You never know if a movie's gonna get like canceled or something and be like taken down from streaming services. I want to be able to own the movie just in case.
Exactly.
You never know that the term "Little John" might be a racial slur at some point in the next decade. We might take it down.
Oh my god, I could totally see that. Anyway.
Well,
moving on.
I have a feeling it's wrong. Well, actually, I know it's wrong, but I know I'm going to earn some points off of it. That even though I've already won, my 51 was Winnie the Pooh for you. at one point, and I have a feeling I'm about to earn 2 more.
Damn you. Yeah, it's dinosaurs. I kind of got carried away. I'm sorry. But how many points does that bring you to?
14.
So I feel like we might need to recount your points. Go
We
through your
can.
list real quick.
We can recount them. My guess is for you. I
Yeah.
had melody time at 61, which I believe was 1 point.
Yes, 1 point for that.
I had make mine music at 60.
So, 2 points for that one.
Yeah, so that's 3 in total so far. Three Caballeros at 59.
Yeah, so 2 points for that one.
So that's 5. Saludos Amigos at 58, which I believe was 1 point.
Correct.
So that's 6 in total. Fun and Fancy Free at 57.
Yeah, so 2 points for that one.
That's 8 points.
Yeah.
Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, which I think is one of the very
Incorrect.
I think one of the only 2 on here that I just realized aren't on your bottom 11. I just realized I did pretty good. But for your 55, I put the Black Cauldron.
So 2 points for that one.
So that's 10, I believe, or 9.
Yes.
10.
10.
Then I had Chicken Little at 54, which I think was the other wrong one.
Yeah, incorrect.
And then I had Home on the Range at 53, which is
So 2 points for that one.
then Dinosaur at 52. I guess I might be short a point actually. Now that I think about it, I thought I was.
Yeah, so 2 for that one.
And then I had Winnie the Pooh at 51.
Yeah, so 1 for that one.
That would be 15, right?
Okay, see,
I missed
that's
a point.
15. I thought my math was off, and I was like,
Yeah, I
because you
missed.
said 13 earlier, and I was like, I had you at 14.
I must have just written 1 for one of the 2-point ones. I thought you meant like I had too many points. I was like, I'm pretty sure I didn't. I think I just got lucky enough with the order I put the wartime movies in, and somehow guessing most of your bottom 10 correctly.
Yeah, I was like, I want this to be fair. I was like, I think he's short too many points. Which is why I wanted to double check. Yeah, so 15 to 8, which is not too bad.
So what put Dinosaur at 51 for you?
I just really love this story. It's really funny.
The story is pretty good.
I felt so freaking bad for like the little lemur though. The one with like the shaggy hair, like the little male.
Yeah,
lemur.
the one that wants to be a ladies' man but gets rejected.
Yeah,
At the beginning,
I felt
and he's
so
left hanging on the vine. But hey, at the end of the movie, he gets to have like a 5-son. So.
I mean, he was the only other male other than that other guy left. So I mean, he had to repopulate the world.
Hey, he got what he wanted, and then some there at the end.
You know, actually, now that I think about it, it only did show females at the end, and her sister. So like, her sister just like never got to repopulate.
Hey, she may have.
No, we're not going. We're not going to Bama. But yeah, no, the whole movie was kind of sad at points.
Yeah, it was a lot darker than I remembered it being, but
oh, it was.
It is a good movie. It's just a lot of it is kind of dated. The comedy doesn't. There's not a ton of comedy in this one, but the comedy isn't that particularly funny, and like it's okay, but like nothing hilarious or charming with it. The visuals get kind of dated, but the story is still pretty darn good. Especially like if you have a kid that likes dinosaurs, like a kid that's in that dinosaur phase every boy goes through when they're like 6 or 7, around that time frame. This movie will more than hold your kid over for a while.
Oh yeah.
Like the dinosaurs are pretty darn cool, and if you every boy goes through their dinosaur phase. Some girls do as well. Not trying to say girls don't, but I'm the oldest of 4 boys, and every single one of us went through a dinosaur phase. Not like the movie, but dinosaurs in general. Like their Jurassic Park, wanting the dinosaur bone kits where you have the rock to get the dinosaur bone out of it.
Yeah, I totally remember doing that in science class where they would just bring us in a giant things of sand and you would dig for fossils.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff, and dinosaurs. Again, watching Jurassic Park, Land Before Time, which I don't think is something kids nowadays know what that is. Um,
That movie
but
series was so good as a kid. Sometimes I even go back and watch it.
say I only remember the first one. I think I saw a couple of the sequels, but I don't remember which ones. But I saw the first one quite a bit. The first one is so fucking sad.
Yeah, it really is, especially the mom scene. I'm like, oh my god.
That's a phenomenal movie. Another movie to recommend if your kid's in their dinosaur phase, bring some tissues, but watch The Land Before Time. That movie's phenomenal.
Have you seen the second one where he meets his dad?
If I have, it's been 20 years. Like I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it since I was little. We had the first one at my grandma's house, and we would occasionally rent them from other ones from Blockbuster or another place. I don't know if it was nationwide or not because it's gone now. At least the ones that were around me back then. But there's another same thing as Blockbuster, a video rental store called Family Video. I don't know if that was a nationwide thing or if it was just a local chain. But
it's probably a local thing. I've never heard of it.
Same concept, going in and renting movies. We would get some Land Before Time movie occasionally. Most of the time I would get a Godzilla movie, but occasionally get a Land Before Time movie. And we would watch them at home. But the first one I watched a lot, and I loved that movie as a kid. I need to watch that one again at some point. It's been a long time. But I remember loving that movie.
Speaking of Blockbuster, I find it hilarious that Netflix tried to sell their brand to Blockbuster, but Blockbuster's like, nah, y'all are going bankrupt. This ain't going anywhere. And it was Blockbuster that ended up going bankrupt, and Netflix became like a huge thing. Especially
because like Netflix at the time was like would have been a great idea for Blockbuster, because Netflix. I don't know if everybody knows this or not, but I remember we may have used it once, but like I remember from the commercials when Netflix started off, it was a video rental service where you would rent movies online and they'd be shipped to you in like a little red envelope. That was when Netflix had that like red background with the word Netflix in white but with like a black shadow behind it as their logo. Or they have what they have now with the weird like red ribbon thing on a black background. But they would like ship it to you, and then you would watch it, and then you would send it back. Which I thought would be like as a kid, I didn't know much about it, but I feel like that would be a great thing for Blockbuster. I'm shocked they passed it up for that, but now Blockbuster is essentially gone outside of that one surviving location. And Family Video, I should say, survived longer than Blockbuster did, probably because it was a local chain. And I know Shelby's family still used it a lot. We still did occasionally go, even after Netflix came out, and after Redbox became a thing. Just because they have a wider selection. But also, this is still relevant to the topic, but very wildly off from what you may be expecting me to follow up with. But did Blockbuster ever have an adult video section?
Is that a thing? No.
I only know because I remember the first time I walked into it at Family Video, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is the best part of the store."
Oh my god, Jesse.
I never actually got anything from there, but I remember I was like, "This is amazing! I can't believe this exists." Like it was a curtain. There was a curtain, and I was like, "What's behind there?" I just saw regular customers walk back there, and I was probably like 12 or 13, and I was like, "I gotta see what's back there."
Wait, and you were how old?
12 or 13, and I wasn't supposed to be back there, but I walked back there.
Oh my god!
I got pulled out, but like an adult saw and like called a staff member, and they were like, "Hey, there's a kid in here," and they came and told me I wasn't allowed to be in there. But I did go in there, and I was like, "Whoa!" But I don't know if Blockbuster had that or not, because our Blockbuster was already closed by then.
Okay, yeah. So I wanted to look it up, and like, there's some people that recall it. This one person says that they used to frequent the video store back in their hometown in the 90s, because they had a large collection of anime. They also remembered that there was a curtain that went into the adult section. The place would be open pretty late at night, and as I got into my late teens, it wouldn't be uncommon for my friends and I to be there past midnight on the weekends playing fighting games. It was then I learned that place stayed alive because of the adult clientele. That is so freaking interesting. That's crazy because, like, when I was going there, I was about 7 or 8. So obviously, I'm not looking for that. I'm not even paying attention to that. I'm looking for the Barbie movies, okay?
Fun fact though, from a family video, they had an awesome thing. They're not even open anymore, so they definitely don't do it. But I don't know how long they kept doing it. But when I was a kid in school, they had this thing where if you brought your report card in, for every A you got a free day of video game rental. So I brought home so many games for my PS2. And I would get for every B you would get a 1-day rental, and for an A you would get a 2-day rental. So I would that was better than any incentive my parents could ever offer me.
Yeah.
my parents would be like, "Oh, if you get all A's, we'll go to I don't know, we'll go to a movie or something." This would give me a whole weekend to kick off summer with. And we would go to Family Video. I remember one specifically I got is I would get Surf's Up the game. Remember Surf's Up the movie? The surfing penguins?
Yeah.
There was a game, and me and my brother played it, and I don't remember, I think we were doing, I think it might have been a race mode. And you remember the chicken that kind of acted like it was high all the time?
Yeah.
And he had the line of "Let the wave do the work" was one line he said at some point in the movie as his advice to the main character, whatever name was, like Skipper. No, Skipper's Madagascar. I don't remember, but whatever the penguin's name was. I would play as the chicken in that game, and I would just every time I'd pass my brother on the wave because you're doing I think it was a race mode. I pass him, I just go, "Let the wave do the work," because he's kind of like standing there nonchalantly on the board while it just moves.
That's hilarious.
I don't know why I remember that. I actually have the game now. I bought it a few years ago. I haven't even played it since I bought it, but I bought it specifically because I had good memories playing that game with my brother. I'm getting so mad of me saying the line, "Let the wave do the work," every time I passed him.
Let the wave do the work.
Yeah.
That's absolutely hilarious.
Let the wave do the work. There were other games I rented too. I remember there was a Godzilla game. I think it was Save the Earth, which is a Godzilla fighting game. I got to play as the different monsters from Godzilla movies and fight each other.
Yeah.
There were plenty of other games we would get, usually based off of movies. On the PS2 specifically, because that we had at my dad's house, my mom's house, and my grandma's house, which is where I would spend the summer at. During the day, I'd be at my grandma's house. They all had a PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 was be what I would rent, so I could bring the game with me that weekend every year. And we actually had 2 family videos, so I'd bring it in one weekend to the one family video, and the next weekend to the other one, so I'd get 2 weekends out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. I don't know how long they kept that up. They may have kept it up to the very end. I don't know. We kind of stopped doing it after a while. I don't know if they still even rented video. I feel like they probably did, because I did go there toward the end of their life, and I think they still had some. But renting video games kind of stopped being a thing in the more modern era. As it became easier to buy things like pre-owned and whatnot. And renting games isn't exactly ideal, because a lot of us don't have the time to beat a game in like 1 or 2 sittings.
Right.
But yeah.
I don't think I ever did that. I'm gonna be honest. Then again, I also always failed my classes when I was younger. But yeah, I don't remember that at all.
There was that Family Video. I don't know if Blockbuster did it. We didn't go there for Blockbuster. I just know Family Video did. Which I guess would make sense as to why it would be a local chain, thinking back on that part. So I don't think a whole nationwide chain like Blockbuster, that would be at big cities. I was not raised near a big city of any sort.
Yeah.
I was a small town person. So I don't think a big city would be able to profit in any way off of customer loyalty from that. That'd be a lot of games being rented out in like places like Los Angeles and Chicago and New York, etc.
That makes sense. What else can we talk about? I don't. Oh, you know what we do need to talk about?
What's that?
What are we doing next week?
Yeah, that is an important thing. This is my pick. Excuse me. I was really hoping we would do the next episode of this next week. Which I guess I could hypothetically make my pick, but I think it'd be kind of lame. I kind of prefer the hype of getting something, of earning the chance to do another one of these.
Yeah, I
Excuse me.
agree.
But I think maybe doing. I think we'll go with the one I said a couple weeks ago of our top 10 favorite holidays. I think is a good way to go with this one. I have some Disney top 10s I want to do, but I don't want to do them until we're done with this list because otherwise it could spoil things. Like, you know, some I have in my mind are like top 10 favorite Disney villains, but that could kind of like give hints to what the list is going to go towards. So,
Right. I completely
I think
agree.
that'd be cool to do after we're done with this. Or you know, Disney princesses, Disney songs. I'm sure there are other Disney ones, Disney princes, whatever. But yeah,
Disney
10 favorite.
sidekicks.
Yeah,
Got that. That's hilarious. But so top 10 favorite holidays.
yeah.
That's gonna be so difficult for me because I don't celebrate holidays.
I celebrate.
anymore, at least.
I celebrate some, and I definitely. I always have a like. I have like my top two. I always say are like a tie, but I've come to realize I focus on one a lot more throughout the year than I do the other. So I think the other one would be my number one, and that's the one that Shelby insists is my number one. Like which, whenever somebody like one time when we went to, it's this is gonna sound bad. It's not actually a bad thing, but we went to a thing. It was marriage counseling. It's a thing that our church offers before you get married. You have to go through it before you get married. Like it's a thing that the church makes. They go through with the church. They make sure that they're confident. Like they want to have a good rap with the weddings they hold in there. They wanted to make sure like they weren't companies that they believed were going to, or couples that they believed weren't going to fall apart or something. They also wanted to help the people that were there like to give a good start because the pastor being married and everything wants to give his advice without like not like trying to intrude, but like I remember one line he had, for example, was they say marriages, the effort should be split 50-50. That's wrong. It should be 100-100. Because 50 implies you're only giving half your effort.
Right.
That should be the main focus of your life from here on out and whatnot. It was a really fun experience, but he asked like one of them was to a test to see like how much you knew about your spouse, and one was what is your spouse's favorite holiday, and I put the 2 down, she put the 1, and when she put it like afterwards when we left, I didn't start a scene there in front of the pastor, but I asked like what makes you think I like that one more than the other one, and she pointed out that I start talking about it like 8 months in advance. And I was like, hey, you know what? I guess you're right. You are right
That's
about that.
hilarious.
I guess I do. I do prepare for that one a lot earlier, so I guess that one probably would be my favorite. I think I would pick it. It's just whenever the time of year comes around for the other one, I always feel like super into that one. But the other one, I start thinking about several months in advance.
That makes sense.
But we'll get to that next week. I think this is the longest episode we've had, which makes sense considering it's live. Before we hop off, I actually want to check just to see if that's true.
I feel like we had a 2-hour episode once.
Our longest is an hour and 45 minutes, and we are an hour and 54 minutes. Well, sorry, an hour 44 minutes and 56 seconds, which is the first one, and then we had an hour and 44 minutes and 33 seconds, which is our actresses one. Those are our two longest. But this one's our longest one now. I think it's because of the, especially because of the intro and the fact that we have 11 slots instead of 10, and we've gone on a lot of separate tangents, which I think works better for the live aspect of it. For those who aren't listening to this live, you can listen to it live on certain episodes, which we'll always announce at the end of the previous episode. Next episode will not be live, but it'll be recorded and published on normal, which this one will be published on all the other platforms outside of YouTube and Twitch. They'll be on the regular time, but everything else, like, we'll, at the end of whatever episode, whenever we tie, we'll announce that there's a live stream. If you want to know when, stay tuned to like my channel posts, or you can join my Discord or her Discord if you want. She may decide to announce it, but you can find the link to our respective, at least my Discords and my YouTube. I don't know if your Discord is public. I guess
it is.
I
It
just
is
realized.
public.
I just realized. I guess, is it on your Discord or your Twitch channel, like your
Is
about
it on my
page?
Discord?
Or-
I think it might be, but in case it's not, at least for those who are watching live, I don't have it linked. No, I need to go back and fix that. Okay. I have the command on there, but I don't have the link in there. Oh, that's so dumb. I'm so dumb. Okay, I'm gonna go back and fix that. Do not worry about it. But yes, the link will be in my about page. I'll actually put it in there
But-
if it's not
yeah,
after
so-
this.
Aqua Leader Jesse on YouTube, Fairy Fox Gaming on Twitch. All the episodes of the Disney series that's going on right now will be live. We have our plans for what happens once we're done with this series for our ties. At least for the next series we plan to do for ties.
Yes.
But this one will probably last quite a while. As much as I really just want to start on the next episode right now.
Yeah,
we
I
can't
know.
do
It took us so long just to get us to this episode.
Yeah, it took so long to get here. I really hope it doesn't take that long again. Which I don't know if next week will be super far apart or super close, because I feel like everybody kind of has the same top
Holidays,
few,
pretty
like the
much.
same top few for the most part. So it's just a matter of where we put them and whether you're in 1, 2, or 3 points for your picks.
Actually, I have a question about that. Are we is it going to be national holidays, or is it going to be like those holidays that you like hear about, but are like not really holidays, like National Pancake Day and stuff like that?
How about let's do yeah, that is a very good question, actually. Let me pull up. Let me see here. Let me check something real quick. I guess that could be a. That's not what I meant to click. Do we want to? So we can do it a couple ways. One option is we can do it based off of Google Calendar, whether it is registered as a holiday on there or not. If we want to go by very strict holidays, or if we want to go all out and wacky, we can. Because the one may be more entertaining. The one may be easier to guess.
I feel like for this one, we should at least go easier to guess.
So I want to just do calendar holidays.
Yeah.
Which I think, because I did, when you said that, I guess there were a couple that I may have put on there if we did go wacky ones that weren't like technically registered on the calendar, but are acknowledged by a lot of people. Like National Mario Day or Star Wars Day, or have a Coke Day or Donut Day. whatever. National Marijuana Day on April 20th. I think that's what they call National Marijuana. I don't know. I don't do any sort of drugs. You can't tell. So I don't have a platform for that one, but I think the calendars one will be easier to earn points on. So I don't think it's a matter of which holidays you pick, it's a matter of where you put them. 'Cause
Right.
I feel like everybody has the same like top 5 or so, or like the same 5 or so in there. Like there are a few holidays a year that pretty much everybody's gonna have. It's just a matter of where, like whether it's like their number 1 or like their number 7, their number 3 or their number 2.
Right. I'm pretty sure that I hope we get a tie.
On the bright
That
side,
it would.
the one thing that would propose a problem, but no won't, would be if I knew you had like some sort of other religious beliefs, unless you're hiding something from me. But I don't believe nothing against. I should say I don't mean when I say so. Nothing against other religions. Whatever your religion is, that's fine. I don't care. It doesn't affect me at all. You believe what you want. Doesn't matter. I don't care what anyone else's religion is. But I last I checked, you were not Jewish or what's the word I'm looking for? I'm on my 3rd glass of the wine. I think I'm starting to. I'm at the bottom of my 3rd glass. I'm gonna blame that for my stupidity at the moment.
Let me just go ahead and help you out there. I'm not religious at all, so
yeah. So I didn't believe so. So like I'm not expecting Ramadan or Kwanzaa or Hanukkah or something to appear.
Maybe not.
Maybe you just think Hanukkah's cool because you like dreidels. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe one of them could appear.
Hanukkah is pretty cool, but I don't celebrate it at all because I'm not Jewish, so I don't have in school they did show us dreidels and stuff, and the is it the menorah? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
They did show us that. I don't retain what any of it means, other than I think the menorah each candles for one of the days of Hanukkah.
I think so.
But that's all I really remember. I don't mean anything I just said as a dig toward anybody. I know I didn't say anything particularly insulting, at least I hope I didn't. I'm just pointing out that last I checked, she was not religious. So, like, I'm not expecting a holiday that I'm not super familiar with from another religion to show up that I've, out of nowhere.
Right. No, I don't think there are going to be any surprise holidays. Potentially. Maybe not. Maybe.
Yeah, and maybe lower on the list, but because this is one of those ones where we're definitely gonna be like, man, I gotta get this to 10. Yeah, I gotta get it to 10 entries. But yeah, the top 5 I think will be like, I have a feeling at least will probably be pretty safe to guess. It's just or at least a good amount, at least more than half of the top 5 will be the same between the two of us. It's just a matter of which spots they're in that'll be different.
Yeah, we could potentially tie on this one.
This one is, I really hope we do. I would love to do another one. But we would have to do our live episode before I leave.
No, we could totally postpone it if you want. We could totally. Let's make up another. Let's do this. Let's have 3 topics for next week. Should either one of us win, one for each of us, and then a tie-ish breaker one, which is not really the tiebreaker one. Just so we can have a pre-recorded one for when you go on your honeymoon. And then when you get back, we'll have the official tiebreaker if you want. We can do it that way.
One thing we could do, I guess this could just. We don't even know if we're going to get a tie. This could be completely pointless. But I am available all day that Friday, so we could do a stream the next day if we needed to. But I guess I'm also available all day that Saturday. I may be busy during the day because that's when we're like dropping Rex off before we leave for a honeymoon, where we drop him off where he's being cared for while we're gone. But and we'll probably be like packing and stuff, but that's not gonna take all day. So we could do that if needed, but I guess we'll leave that to if we even get a tie.
Yeah.
Because we don't even know if that's gonna happen. So that's I guess we'll leave that to be. And with that, this is officially our first 2-hour episode. So, you guys for watching. We will get nothing but more and more passionate about the movies as the series progresses. And the next episode of the Disney series will be covering numbers 50 through 41. And yeah, so thank you everybody for potentially watching / listening.
Oh, you can actually say it this time.
Yeah, I said it correctly this time, I think.
Yeah.
And anybody who missed the live, feel free to hop in. And feel free to send chats into the chat when it happens for any reactions to what we say, or any of our opinions. It'd make the episodes all that much more entertaining.
Yeah, we would definitely love to hear your opinions on them too.
We would love to hear you talk crap about Whitney's fucking bullshit opinions.
Putting Fantasia before Fantasia 2000.
Yeah, Fantasia 2000 still hasn't been listed. It's still not appeared yet. That's the real issue. Which I guess if you don't like, now that I think about it, if you don't like Fantasia, having Fantasia 2000 above it may be better because there's like comedy in it.
Here's the thing, though, that you didn't say anything about, and I'm really surprised that you did.
What's that?
So for your number one, I put Fantasia. I'm surprised you didn't say, "Wow, you really think I like Fantasia less than than like Fantasia 2000?" I did the same thing. I put Fantasia 2000 higher on your list too.
Yeah, I realized that as we were like not at the time, but just now, as you mentioned it, I was like, I just realized you never guessed Fantasia 2000 for me either. But you know, it's whatever, I suppose. we'll get to, for all you know, it could be higher. Like this all could be a ruse, and Fantasia 2000 could be like my favorite Disney movie of all time, or at least higher ranked than Fantasia. I could be pulling the rug out from everybody with the big plot twist, because most people prefer Fantasia to Fantasia 2000. Maybe I'm the black sheep, and I like Fantasia 2000 more, and I'm just trying to play into everybody's hand until I yank the rug out from under him.
That's weird. If you don't get my number one, I'm gonna be so upset. I mean, like number one overall. I'm gonna be so upset with you.
So that's actually a thing for me. I have ideas, but I don't know what your number one is. Which is
I'm so confused why you say I know your number one, and I totally do not.
I thought you did, because if you've been in my house,
I do know your number one.
I was gonna say, if you've been in my house, like, which you haven't, but if you had been inside my house, you would know what my number one is. But because we've got decorations, we've got several decorations of it on there. But you may know, but I feel like you do, but maybe you don't. Like I do have several movies that I absolutely love, but I feel like you should, because of a couple different reasons. Just matter whether you remember those reasons or not. But it doesn't matter whether you're remembering the Disney movie that's my favorite or not, because we have a lot of things in my life themed around different Disney movies. Like, my wedding was themed after one movie, while my cats are named after another, while my bathroom is themed around another. Well, so...
Hey, what?
We have well, I should say not so much anymore, but at my previous house, the house I was at right after we met, the house I moved to when I first moved to Tennessee, was themed around a specific Disney movie for the most part, with the decorations. Not on purpose, but that's kind of where the decorations ended up.
It just kind of happened that way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I don't know. I guess we'll find out. that'll be the real test because I typically make my favorite Disney movie pretty apparent. But for yours, I've got a couple different ideas, and I'm not sure which one's the number one.
I really want to know these ideas. Damn it, Jesse!
We'll
Why do you
have to
get me
get
so
there.
curious?
There are some movies that I know I have pretty low on the list that I feel like, based off of how I know you, may be really high on the list, but I don't know. So I'm planning on keeping those to myself until if you put them low on the list, I'm going to call you out on why it should be higher on your list and your opinion is wrong about how you feel about them. No matter how low they are on my list, they can't be that low on your list.
That's wrong. You like the songs of that movie. That's
bullshit. I know you like Make Mine music because there was a shit. What animal appeared in there? I'm struggling to remember right now. I know you like Melody Time because there was a squirrel in there. And you like squirrels, so that should be in your top 10. Your opinion is bullshit. I know you better than you do, apparently.
That's wrong. Wrong.
Winnie the Pooh has a bunch of cute animals in it, which I know is your thing. So the fact that you have it that low on the list is completely just incorrect, factually incorrect. I can't believe you're that out of touch with your own opinion that you put Winnie the Pooh in your bottom
I can't believe you're that out of touch with yourself.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I can't believe that. Oh my god. That's great.
So, also, before we cap this off, which we're at 2 hours and 11 minutes, this episode's been done forever, but it's live, so who cares? Are you familiar? I should ask, are you familiar with like the different quote eras of Disney, like their movie eras? Okay, that's something that I'm probably gonna bring up a lot, because if you're not familiar with them, you might not even know the difference. But once you learn, when you know which eras are what, a lot of things start to click with the quality of the movies around the time they're released and the way they're animated and the way they're made. And I was going to point out that some may notice I definitely have a favorite era. There's a specific era. There's I forget the number. I could count, but there's the Golden Era, which is 5 movies: Snow White, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, Bambi. Then there's the Wartime Era, which is the movie which has been almost completely covered in this episode, except for one movie. For both of us, I guess it made it out of the bottom 10 for both of us.
Wait, what movie?
Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
No. I put that as your number 50 something.
Yeah, but it didn't appear on either of our actual lists, I should say.
Oh yeah.
And then there's the Silver Age, which is like Cinderella, Peter Pan, Sleeping Beauty, Lady and the Tramp, that sort of come back to glory after the horrible wartime era, the most forgettable era of Disney. Then there's the Bronze Age / Dark Age, whatever you want to, it goes by either name, which is after Walt Disney passed away, which I always forget. The Jungle Book, I always forget whether it counts as Silver Age or Dark / Bronze Age, because it was Walt Disney died during the making of that movie, so I just forget where that one counts. That's like Robin Hood, The Black Cauldron. I think The Sword in the Stone was there. 101 Dalmatians, I think, was there. Great Mouse Detective, The Original Rescuers, etc. And then there's the Renaissance, which is another return to glory, which is from 1989 to 1999. That's the Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, Rescuers Down Under, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, Pocahontas, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Mulan, and Tarzan. And then there's is it called the Millennium Era or the New Dark Age, or the 2000s era, or the Post-Renaissance, which is from Fantasia 2000, which was released in December of 1999, up through what was the last movie? Was Bolt the last movie? I think Bolt might have been the last movie.
Yeah, but what's the last
At
movie?
that time, I also had Lilo and Stitch, Atlantis: Lost Empire, Treasure Planet, Home on the Range, Chicken Little, Dinosaur. I feel like I'm missing one. Meet the Robinsons. And then there's the revival era, which I think we're still in, unless a new one has started that I'm not familiar with, which was Princess and the Frog onward, which is sort of a return to the Renaissance style of movies. We got like Princess and the Frog, Tangled, Winnie the Pooh, Wreck-It Ralph, Big Hero 6, Zootopia, Moana, or sorry, Frozen. I skipped Frozen, the big one. Zootopia, Moana, Frozen 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, Raya and the Last Dragon, Encanto, Strange World, etc. I believe that is the era we're currently in.
Yeah, the revival.
Which should be changing at some point. This is a pretty long era, but anyway, people will probably notice I do have a favorite era, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna say anything else because I don't want to spoil anything. But I want to leave people up to their mindset of figuring out which one that is. But we're at 2 hours and 15 minutes. This is by far this is over 30 minutes longer than the second longest episode of Stupidiots. So I think we're going to go ahead and call this an episode. Call this a start to the series of all of the quote Disney movies, and I'm just going to call them for short, ranked from worst to best. Thank you to everybody for potentially watching / listening later. And stay tuned for future episodes. Be sure to follow me on Aqualita Jesse on YouTube, or her on Whitney on Fairy Fox Gaming on Twitch. And we will, and be sure to leave a rating if you enjoyed it. It helps out a lot. We did get a second 5-star rating from somebody. I don't know who, but we got a 5-star rating on Spotify from somebody else. You have 2 5-star ratings now.
Nice.
So we're getting there. The positive ratings really do help. Just in general, it's a very good motivational feedback to keep making the podcast. And share it with people you think may enjoy it. All your fellow Disney nerds, your favorite Disney nerds. Be sure to keep them in touch here, because even though this is a temporary series, we will definitely continue talking about Disney way past that, and other things Disney at other points as well. So I would love to hear their opinions. Leave comments on the YouTube video or in our chat whenever we're live on our live episodes for this. And let us know what your favorite, or in this case, actually for this one, let us know what your least favorite Disney movies are. Or
Yeah.
if you want to go that far, like, you can even give us your 61 to 51. Let us know what you think. I want to know how in the know our opinions are, like how common ours are. If, like, I know a lot of people dislike The Black Cauldron. Some people call it the most underrated movie Disney ever made. I know a lot of people hate Home on the Range. I'm not the only one, but other people do really enjoy it. So I guess let us know about that, or maybe let us know if you love the wartime movies. If you love Melody Time, Make My Music, Saludos, Amigos, Three Caballeros, Fun and Fancy Free, Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. We won't disagree with you on that last one. Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad is great. If you don't know what that movie is, stay tuned. But yeah, just let us know your opinions and whatnot. Just keep it civil, or at least entertaining if you're going to go chaotic. And we
Please do. I will totally just read those and drink wine.
Yeah, so thank you to everybody for watching, and we'll catch you guys / listening. We'll catch you guys in the next episode. I've said this a billion times already. Goodbye.